Hi, my name is Emily Morrow, and this is my speech 3. Here is my audience. Round. When anyone mentioned the name Lance Armstrong 2 years ago, they remembered him as being a superior athlete and a heroic cancer survivor. As a well-known professional cyclist, he set the world record by winning the Tour de France 7 consecutive times, and after surviving a life-threatening battle with cancer, he founded a non-profit organization called Livestrong. Everything pointed to him being a well-known legend for years to come. But in June 2012, it was revealed that Armstrong had been using anabolic steroids when competing, and his entire career had been a bold-faced lie. In a matter of months, Armstrong was stripped of his titles, his sponsors, and was banned from the sport of cycling for life. In an instant, his life went from being coveted by many to yet another story of celebrity defeat, all due to his use of anabolic steroids to enhance his performance. According to Medical News Today, anabolic steroids have existed since the 1930s and are a synthetic drug that imitates the effects of the male hormone testosterone. Its abuse by athletes has grown immensely since the mid-1990s, and the drug continues to have an escalating presence in the world of sports, particularly among young athletes. While many athletes believe they are merely leveling the playing field, many of them fail to realize the dire consequences that can come as a result of anabolic steroid usage. This chart indicates the levels of increased usage between 8th grade to 12th grade users in steroids. Currently, there are 73 different types of anabolic steroids, the most popular among athletes being clenbuterol, winstrol, and testosterone. Medical News Today states these drugs are appealing because they enhance muscle mass and improve physical strength. They can also reduce body fat levels considerably, giving the user a sense of euphoria and increased self-esteem. While it is true that anabolic steroids can improve an athlete's physical performance, they do not come without drawbacks. According to Medical News Today, some common side effects of steroid use include nausea and vomiting, sleep problems, depression, aggressive behavior, and an increased risk of cancer and cardiovascular disease. There is also indication in recent studies posted by the Herald Scotland that the effects of steroid usage are long-lived, even after prolonged subsequent inactivity. This means that athletes can be banned from their sport even years after using the drug. There are also strict professional repercussions that are taken against athletes who use anabolic steroids. Not to mention the fact that getting past urine and blood and drug tests is rather difficult because they can occur at any time. Yet despite these consequences, many athletes, particularly young athletes, choose to take these risks anyways to boost their performance. Among 12 to 17-year-old boys, the use of steroids increased 25% from 1999 to 2000. However, most abusers tend to be middle-class heterosexual men around the age of 25, according to the new Medical Today. So if there are so many physical, mental, and professional consequences to anabolic steroid usage, why do athletes continue to use them? Well, many athletes such as Lance Armstrong claim they are simply leveling the playing field, so to say, by using steroids, says the New Atlantis. In recent years, steroids were so common in the sport of baseball that it was termed the steroid era. One player noted during this time that the hundreds who played the game clean were harmed. Many lost jobs, money, and opportunity by choosing to play the game clean. Modern athletic sport is entirely focused on finding new ways to break old records. Therefore, many athletes feel they need to use steroids simply to remain competitive. Should society allow this to alter the true meaning of sport? The New Atlantis describes sport as being an exclusively human kind of performance, carried out through a combination of natural gifts, unearned, undeserved, and unevenly distributed in the population, and willed activities. If we just wanted to see superior performance, we would replace our sportsmen with machines who could easily surpass our athletes. Yet this would prove to be meaningless because it takes out the human aspect of the game. And that is exactly what anabolic steroids do. In the words of the New Atlantis, they alienate an athlete from their own activity. One cannot be personally fully excellent if the excellence stems, at least in part, from a chemical intervention. Based on all of these negative repercussions, what steps can be employed to prevent anabolic steroid usage? The first priority should be education. Many athletes are simply unaware of the vast consequences that can come as a result of anabolic steroid usage. Those who do have access to medical information, according to the British Medical Journal, believe the medical profession has little credibility in relation to the consequences of use of anabolic steroids, and thus they rely on locker room anecdotes and advice from other drug users. By educating athletes and society alike at a young age on the physical, emotional, and professional side effects one suffers with anabolic steroid usage, athletes will have a better knowledge necessary to make wiser life decisions. In fact, studies have concluded that education organizations can reduce steroid abuse by as much as 50% in young athletes, according to Medical News Today. Secondly, there needs to be a shift in the athletic mindset. Currently, even if athletes know of some of the risks associated with steroid usage, they deem these risks necessary in order to remain competitive in their sport. However, if steroids went from being accepted by athletes to condemned, this social risk would be strong enough to discourage many athletes from using steroids. This can be accomplished through a plan that promotes the benefits of being a true sportsman rather than a drug-induced Superman. It is important to note that in order to accomplish this, however, change must start from within. Athletes themselves must take a strong stance against anabolic steroid usage in order to create a chain reaction among other athletes. The last step to counteracting the negative consequences of anabolic steroid usage is safety precautions. It is highly unlikely that anabolic steroid usage can be prevented altogether. There will always be some abusers that illegally gain access to these drugs. Therefore, it would be wise to also provide services that reduce the medical risks associated with steroids. Creating a non-judgmental anabolic steroid user clinic that provides people with sterile injecting equipment and evidence-based information regarding the risk of specific drugs, as well as identifying strategies to minimize the potential harm, will likely help prevent and reduce overall drug use, says the British Medical Journal. This approach ensures that the solution plan for steroid usage is both holistic and realistic, taking into consideration those people that will take steroid use regardless of warning or regulation. Anabolic steroid use has been an issue in the field of sports for many years. It has become increasingly common among athletes, and steroids are increasingly in use among young athletes at a frightening rate. However, this problem is not without a solution. Through education, an altered mindset, and increased safety precautions, anabolic steroid usage can be significantly reduced and even prevented. In the words of Lance Armstrong, "I am deeply sorry for what I did. I deserve to be punished. I've come to realize that it is only hard work, sacrifice, and focus that will never show up in tests."
Wow,
Yay!
very good.
Excellent.
What do you think of Armstrong personally?